Okay, hey guys, welcome to our first Flash assignment here. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview, but not too much. I just want you to start working on it. You will figure this out as you go. You're pretty good at this stuff now after doing all that fireworks. So I opened up my Flash, and if you didn't see, everybody should have an icon right there somewhere on your desktop for Flash, or you may have to go into Start Programs, and it's inside a folder called Macromedia. So when you find Flash, open up, it should look basically like this. We're all using Flash 8. And I'm just going to start by opening up a new document. And when you create a new document, it has default settings. Just notice the property inspector, just where you're used to seeing it. And down here it tells you the size of the canvas is 550 by 400, which is pretty small. It's perfect for what we're doing now. The background color, the frame rate, that will come into play later when you're making videos. And the publish settings you don't really have to worry too much about. We're going to talk about this library in a minute. Now this is different. If you look up here, this is your timeline, and these are all your frames. And just to remind yourself, remember when we were working in, here's good old fireworks. When we were working fireworks and we had animations, we had these frames. Each frame was like its own thing, and it said frame 1, frame 2, and it was a pretty big deal, And if you started making a lot of them, it would fill up pretty quick. But you can see in Flash, the way Flash is designed, it's designed to handle many frames. It's very good for animations. You can scroll that and it just keeps going and going. And you probably can't tell my video because the quality's not too high, but on yours you'll see it's like every 5 frames it's a little bit gray, just to kind of help you keep your space. So that's going to lend itself to animation, which we're going to do later, not for this first assignment. This first assignment, I want to just talk a little bit about buttons with you guys and introduce some of these tools to you. So what we're going to do is make a simple little assignment with 3 buttons, and we're going to start with our text tool. So I click on this text tool, and I'm just going to come over here. And before I start to use it, I'm going to check out my font. I'm going to make my font a little bigger, maybe about 22, in Arial Black, or whatever font you want to use, whatever you want. How about this one for me? You use whatever you want. And I'm just going to make 3 buttons, and if you click on it and you draw a little box, it kind of approximates how the box is going to be. How big you want to keep it, start it. And if you type more than your box, it's okay. You can just, if your box is too small, it'll do that. It'll scrunch it in. But you can just pull this in and it'll scrunch it back out again. So it's not a big deal. So there's button 1. I made it blue. I'm going to go ahead and click on another box. And this time I'm going to make it century. Oh, see, it's still selecting the one that I just had. So I'm going to put that back. How about that curly? That's weird. Whatever, elephant, that's good. For the second one, I'm going to pick a different font. So I'm going to start the box first. And then I'm going to go ahead and change the font to whatever. Forte. And then I'm going to call this one, I'm going to make it black. So I'm just kind of playing around. Button 2, just kind of getting used to it. And notice what I'm doing. I'm clicking off of the text tool and going back to the black arrow, so then I can grab that button and that text and move it around. So as long as you have your black arrow, you move it. If you click back on the text tool, that's going to allow you to click into the text box, and then you could go inside and highlight it, and maybe you could change the color if you wanted to do it. Maybe make it a little bit bigger or bold or italics, whatever you want to do. So just keep track, using the text tool or the arrow. And then I'm going to do one more button over here. And that one can be good old Georgia. How about basic black? And button 3. So I'm going to make 3 buttons today. So I'm going to start it out. And that's the basically text tool. So play around with the text tool, get you comfortable with it now. To make buttons, I'm just going to use simple shapes. The oval tool, the rectangle tool, and if you click and hold it, you'll see there's a polystar tool as well. So we'll do one of each, right? I'm going to start with the oval. Now when you draw with these shapes, there's a weird little option. It's right down here under options. You can either turn this object drawing on or off. And I'm going to start with it. See how when it's on, you click it, it's kind of lit up or kind of highlighted. You turn it off. I'm going to start with it off the first time and just watch what happens. So before I draw the circle, I'm going to look at my properties. So I've selected my circle. I'm going to come down here. There's a fill color, which is the inside of the circle. I'll make that blue to match the text. And there's an edge. I'll make that, how about a lime green? And then this is the size of the edge. I'll start with 2.5. So let's just try a basic circle. And remember the rules, like if you hold down Shift, it'll draw your circle perfectly. Boom. So there's a nice blue circle and green edge. Now immediately I clicked on this black arrow. What I want you to notice is if you click this, you can see, hopefully you can see that it kind of lit it up. And you see all the little dots. And it's hard to see in this video, but it only lit up the fill. It didn't light up the green. So if this happens, you just click it and you hold it and click and press it, pull it out. See what it does? It separates the fill from the edge, which is really kind of annoying. And one way to get around it is to draw a box around the whole thing like this, and then it selects both. Okay? Another way to do it is if you click once, it selects whatever you touched. And if you click a second time, if you double click, it'll select everything. It'll select the fill and the edge. So that's the big first thing to remember in Flash is when you're drawing with these shapes and you have this object drawing turned off, it will separate. They won't be grouped, the inside and the edge. And so that can come in handy, but it can be kind of annoying. So if you want to change the color, you can click on it, select it, go down here and give it a different color. But it only changes the fill color. If you want to click the edge color, I have to click on the edge and see how it lit up green, and then I could change the edge color. All right. Another way you can do it is using the ink bottle. The ink bottle changes the edge. So if I click on the ink bottle and I go over and make it say green again, and then I just touch, even if I don't touch on the edge, if I touch something that's touching the edge, it will make the edge green. It's kind of weird. You see that? Try that with your own thing. So if I make it blue, I can click on the red and it will just make the blue, the edge color. So the ink bottle changes edge, the paint bucket will change all fill. And that's just a quick little introduction. So there's button 1. Now for button 2, I'm just going to use a basic rectangle. Now watch what I'm going to do here for button 2. I'm going to turn this on, object drawing turned on. And I'm going to change the color. I'll make the inside be like tan, the outside can be green. So now when I click and I draw it, I'll draw a nice rectangle. Watch now when I click on this thing. I click it once and now look, it's not separated. There's like this little circle in the middle, sometimes you can see it. It's been grouped, all right? So it's automatically grouped, so it's not separated edge and fill. So when you have this object drawing turned on, it will group it. Now, it's not a big deal. You can always regroup something. So if I can highlight this, I go up to modify and group it. And now this is group 2, and it's got that blue box around it. And vice versa, I can go modify, ungroup it. And now this has been turned back into like a bitmap. It's been separated out. So just kind of keep that in mind, depending on what you're doing. I tend to like my stuff to stay grouped. And then button 3, I want to play with this polystar, so I'll click and hold it. In the polystar tool, you got several options with that. And then I'll see they're not coming up. So I think we're still stuck in that group. I'm going to click off of it for a minute. Click on polystar. There, now my options came up. They didn't come up at first, so just keep that in mind. See, now when I go under options for polystar, I can say, hey, what style do I want? Polygon or star? I'm going to make mine a star. A number of sides in my star, I'll make it 5-sided. And now I'm going to change the color. And I'm going to choose one of these funky colors. They have a few of these preset gradients. I'll make it green. And the edge, I'm going to make it red. And I'll make this one a little bit thicker. All right, so now I'm going to click on that star. Boom. That's kind of cool. All right, and automatically it grouped the polygon. Or maybe it's because I had the object drawing turned on. I didn't even look, so it's probably because I had it turned on. So now I have these 3 buttons. This video is going on for a while. I'm going to pause it here. Let you guys catch up with me if you got lost, and then I'm going to pick up with part 2, and we're going to actually turn these into buttons, okay? So I'm going to need to save this. That's what I want to mention. You want to save your Flash often. It has a tendency to crash sometimes, so I should have saved it earlier, but I'm going to save it now. And I'm going to put it, if I was at school, I'd put it in my H drive. So you guys make sure you go in your H drive. I'm going to put it in here. I have a web design folder. And I'm going to make a new folder called Flash. And people always tell me, well, I don't have a Flash folder. Well, just make one. So here's a new folder. I'm going to call it Flash. And click into it. And then I'm going to call this first assignment Buttons. I'm going to call it Buttons 1 because later on in a week or so, you're going to make another button that's going to be like cooler. So I'm just going to call this buttons 1 for now, and I'm going to save it. So I did that. Now I want to pause here. You guys catch up and then watch part 2, and make sure at the end of part 2, watch the full video, because I'm going to show you how to link stuff up. It's not as intuitive as you might think in Flash. So it's a little video. You need to watch that.